Hello, this is Paul Mulligan for IC Show TV at IC 2018. Thanks for joining us. Today I'm joined by Eric from AJ Video Systems. Welcome, Eric. Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
First of all, do you think we're seeing an increase in 4K adoption in the Pro AV world, or is it still kind of a little bit slow?
Well, it's interesting. We've seen obviously a lot of 4K take up in large venues, different places. Originally coming from cinema and sprinkling itself onto screens all over the world. But something that surprisingly has come up a lot is with the new HDR. We were very excited about 4K HDR. We love 4K HDR, but HD HDR, which is 4 channels or multi-channels of stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's been interesting to see where parallel universes exist, and a lot of the venues and different requirements have evolved. And HDR has been one of these technologies that's very quick uptake on the consumer side and everywhere since it pops out of the screen. It looks brilliant.
I just wonder, I don't know, probably not had a chance to wander the show or anything. I just wondered if you'd seen maybe on other stands, maybe more kind of 4K offerings or...
Oh, definitely. Well, we've seen as 12 gig and as some of the IP standards and stuff get ready for 4K, we've seen the screens move forward quickly.
Yeah.
It's something you can get in the home now. You can get content easily, and we're seeing that distributed all over the place. And actually 4K, before it was everywhere, it was really in Pro AV staging, all sorts of different things where the screens, I mean, this hall alone, you can see 4K screens of all dimensions, size, shape, brightness. It's an amazing thing.
Yeah. And you guys have obviously, been in this sort of broadcast sphere for a long time. It seems to have, in the last, 18 months to 2 years, in the sort of Pro AV world, the kind of broadcast tech is becoming a lot more standard, a lot more used in the Pro AV world. Does that give you guys an advantage because you've been here for years?
I would say yes, and I would also say the reciprocal is also true. A lot of AV technologies are used in broadcast now. A lot of broadcast technologies are used in AV, and that's something where I've seen we've been serving video to screens in both worlds, the parallel universes, but now I'm starting to see all of it come together, because whatever works, we're all looking for good solutions.
Yeah, sure. I think one aspect of the sort of broadcast technology was that it was used by highly skilled people and was quite complex systems. Now we're seeing more the sort of uptake of streaming across a whole range of sectors in the AV world. Is there a need for those systems to be less complex? I'm thinking of something like House of Worship, or maybe it's sort of non-trained personnel that will be
very
in charge
much
of the
so.
streaming.
Well, if you think of the universities, the corporate market, the House of Worship market, these are huge amounts of video being produced every day, and these are often being produced by people who may be technical, but they're not video tech people. So, we've seen, like with our Hilo product and with some of our other products, is the more simple you can make these things and more powerful, the more people will ingratiate themselves to them.
So that's certainly a consideration then when you guys are designing a product that will be used in those kind of applications. You will maybe not scale it down is the right word, but you'll think about the user experience a lot more and maybe...
Oh, very much so, and that's always been my focus. Is my background's AV streaming production, and you always need a million things going on. You need them all to be as simple as possible so that you can deal with them dynamically going through a production.
I mean, I think it seems to be a growing trend. I've spoken to a few people this week that thinking more and more about the user experience rather than, here is our new box, isn't it great, please buy it. It's actually been genuine thought and a lot of feedback, actually. Is that something you guys, in terms of like speaking to end users about what they want and what they would maybe change about?
Very much so. And that's how AJ, we tend to build a product, think it's going to do something. It will do that thing, certainly, but products evolve, so we continue to add more and more firmware, like to our Hilo encoder. User feedback was, we want a video preview in the web UI. Well, that makes perfect sense. Let's get a video preview in the web UI. Let's get this, let's get that. And so, especially when you're working with a much larger user base, you get a lot more of that feedback quickly, and being able to incorporate that is always a nice thing.
Brilliant. Eric, it was great to talk to you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, sir.